Welcome back everyone to the Project Nodenium server. Today we are getting started with a major project that I have been talking about for the last few episodes, but we have yet to begin. And that project is our main base area, which is going to be going in right over here. And we have some major work that we are going to need to be doing, because what I want to start with is the terraforming. We are going to be completely changing this terrain, and we are going to do that as the foundation for all of the builds that are going to go on top of it. But there are a couple of other projects that I want to work on before we get started with the terraforming. The first thing that I want to work on is changing up what we have going on with our nether portal right here, because right now we just have a nether portal, and if we go through it, you can see last time we built this structure on the nether roof to signify where our base is at. But there is quite a bit of a downgrade between this side of the nether portal and this side of the nether portal. So we need to fix that. For this project, I think we're going to keep it relatively simple and consistent with this build. I've got a few materials all ready to go, which you can see in the shulker box right here. So let's pick that up and then we can get started with getting this built. This is a relatively small build, but I think it adds so much to this area. It definitely makes it feel a lot more complete now that we have this build completed, and it leads right over into our starter base. It also matches up pretty closely with the design that we have here, although there are a few little differences. I think I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. But with that project completed, we can now start thinking about the main project for today and what we need to do to be able to start working on it. The goal for today is to start the terraforming of this mountainside, and in order to do that, we are first going to have to go through and take out a lot of the terrain that's already here so that we can replace it with the new terrain. But right now I only have 3 pickaxes, and they are only diamond pickaxes. They're not even netherite pickaxes, which means that if we were to start mining right now, I would end up having to repair these a lot. So I think the first thing that we need to do is go through and get a bunch more pickaxes, which fortunately we should be able to do at our villager trading hall. So we're going to trade iron to get emeralds, and then we'll use those emeralds to get pickaxes. I think that ought to do it. We just need to remove the enchantments that are on these pickaxes, and then we need to buy 12 efficiency 5 books, trade for some more emeralds, trade for more books, and well, you get the idea. So thanks to the villagers, we now have 13 pickaxes, 6 shovels, and the enchantments that we need to apply to them. So I'm going to head to the server's XP farm so I can get these enchantments applied to our pickaxes and shovels. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you just a little time lapse of a project that was completed during a recent stream. So it took about an hour, but this is our last shovel that we are going to need to get all enchanted up. It takes about 25 levels to be able to add all 4 enchantments to each of the tools. We've got that added in. Now let's just get a little bit of XP so our XP bar is not quite so empty. I think that should just about do it. And we'll collect up our anvil here, and we should be all set to go. Our tool shulker box is now looking a lot better. We've got plenty of pickaxes to use, plenty of shovels that we're going to be able to use. So the digging should be fairly easy, and hopefully we're not going to have to take too many breaks to get all of our tools repaired in between all of the digging that we're going to be doing. I think the last thing that we need to do before we can start digging, though, is buy 1 more beacon just so that we can be sure to have enough coverage for the entire mountain. So that's 1 beacon there. We'll add that to the one we already have, and we'll also collect up the beacon that's in our starter base to be able to use that as well. The first beacon we're going to put right here, so let's dig down and we'll get that placed. So we got beacon number 1 placed. Here's beacon number 2 and beacon number 3. I think we were able to get pretty good coverage with the 3 beacons that we've got placed. We're now ready to get started digging this area out. majority of the digging is now completed, and you can get a sense of the shape that we're going to be putting in for our new terrain over in this area. One of the reasons that I went ahead and dug out as much as I did is because we want to have as little space up here that isn't part of the pale garden biome. And so that's why a lot of this side is cut away, because that was still the dark oak forest biome. And now we have this flat area up here, which is where our primary building is going to go. We're going to also be doing some building around on these spots here, but the primary structures will be on this spot. Digging out this space was a lot of work. There were a lot of blocks removed. I ended up filling all of these chests here with stone, these chests over here with grass and dirt, and I also have all of these shulker boxes completely filled with stone. I did a little bit of calculating, and it was about 114,000 blocks that were removed. Well, that's a lot of digging, but that's not all the digging that we're going to be doing today, because we now need to get all of the blocks that we're going to be using to cover this area. Fortunately, that's only going to take about 17,000 blocks. But before I can start collecting those, I'm going to need to do some tool repair. So let's get to it. And it actually didn't take that long to get these all repaired up, but they are now ready to go, and everything is looking much better. And now that they've been repaired, we can start collecting up all of the materials that we're going to be using today. First up, we're going to collect some blackstone, and we're going to need a little over 2 shulker box worth of blackstone. We're down here in these tunnels, which if you've been watching some of my most recent streams, you'll recognize as the tunnels that I've been using to collect up a bunch of ancient debris. And if you want to check out the streams, I will be streaming on Wednesdays, usually at about 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to keep track of when that's going to be happening, I also post about it in my Discord channel, and you can check that out. There is a link in the description to be able to join. We now have 1 shulker box and 2 shulker boxes worth of blackstone. Next up, we're going to need to get 2 shulker boxes worth of deep slate and 2 shulker boxes of cobbled deep slate. And now that we've got 2 shulker boxes of deep slate and 2 shulker boxes of cobbled deep slate, we are going to take this cobbled deep slate and turn it into deep slate tiles. But turning it all into deep slate tiles is not going to be the end, because we are going to need to craft up some cracked deep slate tiles. So I've loaded it up into our super smelter here. We're going to get that started and allow those to start smelting. While we have those smelting up, we're going to turn on our basalt generator, because we're going to need 2 shulker boxes worth of basalt. And last but not least, we need some mud. 2 shulker boxes worth, in fact. So I think we now have everything collected up here. So we've got our blackstone, we got the mud, we've got the cracked deep slate tiles, we've got basalt, we've got deep slate, and we've got some pale moss and grass blocks, which we're going to be putting in around the edges. But now that everything is collected, we can start building this mountainside. We now have the basic terrain set up for this mountainside, and I think that it came together very well, even though we've got this nice big open space in the middle here where we don't have any terrain, and that is intentional because what I want to eventually be able to do is extend our road here, and the road is going to go across the bridge down through here and around this corner. We're going to be putting in some buildings on either side of that road, And so I didn't want to have a bunch of terrain here in the way that we're going to have to change out for the road eventually anyways. The other spot where we have a gap is this area down here, and I've also got some ideas. So I'm thinking that what we're going to have is this road is going to come down, it's going to loop around over here, and then eventually we're going to be putting in a build in this spot. Looks like we're missing a block right here, but we're going to be putting in a nice little build that's going to create more of a garden area in this zone. Or at least that's the plan for now. I might change it as I get started with the design work, but for now, that is the idea for this area. But the other thing you might notice that I'm missing is my armor. And the reason that I don't have any on is because in between building this mountainside, I did a stream where I went into the nether and was able to find some netherite upgrades. So I now have netherite armor and a few netherite tools, which means I'm feeling much better about the condition of my gear. But as you can see from the clips that are now on the screen, the trip into the nether did not go quite according to plan. I was in a bastion with a lot of piglin brutes and they killed me over and over and over and over again, which was a little bit on the frustrating side. But eventually I was able to make it all the way down to the bottom and collect the treasure and the netherite upgrade. One thing that I was hoping with that trip was that I was going to get more than one netherite upgrade so that I wouldn't have to spend a lot of diamonds to be able to turn all of these diamond tools into netherite tools. And in total, it's going to take about 140 diamonds to get these all upgraded. That's a lot of diamonds. But since we have enough time in this episode, I think what we're going to do is do a little bit of mining to get some diamonds, and then we're going to finish upgrading all of our gear. So after mining out all of the diamonds that we were able to collect up, we've got 118 diamonds, which is not quite enough, but I was able to sell a pig step music desk, and I got 5 diamond blocks, which will put us into having just enough diamonds to get all of the netherite upgrade templates that we need. So let's get them crafted up, smelt up the ancient debris, craft up the netherite ingots, and get them applied to all of our tools. We were a little bit short on the netherite. We have 3 more tools that need to be upgraded, but I think that's looking very good for now. I think that is where we are going to leave it for today. Next time, we are going to get started with putting the builds on top of this mountain that we've built, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it and can't wait to get started. But until then, if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see you later.